Hello, 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 hello. This is Adrienne Obi, Capricorn Tigress of Astrology. I look inside. And you know what? I wasn't really ready. That funny looking picture that just took of me for I was going to take another one and it went and started. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. You guys, what I decided to do was just a quick overview. What I'm calling full moon readings. Just some information about the full moon coming up tomorrow, or for some tomorrow, for some day after tomorrow, because it's still technically 10 o'clock on the 17th here in Seattle. Now, my voice isn't that great. I've been battling some flu-like symptoms. I hope that you can hear me well and that I'm coming across okay. So let's go ahead and get started with Aries. Aries. Well, Aries, I'm starting with you because, well, it's going to affect you pretty much. You're going to be affected. I mean, the full moon's going to be in the 7th house of your partnerships. That's other people. And so that's where the emphasis is going to be. It could be that when it comes to other people, there could be some emotion. I mean, it could be your relationship. It could be like a partnership. It could be business partnerships. It could be a marriage partner. It could be the person you're married to. But, the 19th, that full moon in Libra might set something off there. And this is especially true if you've got planets that are in Capricorn, Aries, or Cancer. Now, don't forget, though, that the North Node is in Cancer, and Saturn and Pluto are in Capricorn, and they're all in the late degrees. So technically within striking distance of squares. So be aware of that. Overall, though, Aries, I mean, you've got Venus coming into your first house soon. And all of May, you're going to have Venus sitting there in that first house pretty much. Mercury just got into Aries, and that's in your first house. You got Chiron sitting in the first house. So you're dealing with some issues. I've talked about that recently. But overall, I think the full moon is going to illuminate the area of partnerships. It's all about your partners. It's all about those other people. It might be that you find yourself desiring to reach out more to other people that day. I want you to be aware, though, that the 7th house is also the house of enemies, and we're talking open enemies. So it is possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it's possible that open enemies could come out of the woodwork that day. I mean, and it could be maybe partners. If you're going through a separation or a divorce or anything like that, it could be a problem. And it could be because of perhaps some communication that you've had or lack of. I mean, Mars is in Gemini. So, well, the only thing I would say is that the North Node is in the 4th house. And so if it comes down to saving your family or not saving your family, think long and hard before you give up your family and your marriage. Okay? Anyway, that's my take on things. And don't forget, Saturn and Pluto are going retrograde in the 10th house. You might feel a little bit of that, either on the 19th or the 20th, actually, somewhere around there. It might even be the 18th, because I think Saturn's like at 20 degrees, so it'll be before it hits the full moon. Be aware of that. Okay, Aries, good luck to you, and happy full moon in Libra. Next, I have Taurus. Taurus. So Taurus's full moon is falling in your 6th house of health and work. It could be your service to others. You might just feel extra busy on Friday. But really, I'm thinking it might affect your health because it is a full moon there. It might just mean that that day you feel that you have to take a good look at your health, because you might not have been looking very closely at your health or your work. And, that could play out somehow. I mean, Chiron is in Aries in their 12th house. And there is, we're going to have both Venus and Mercury in Aries in that 12th house. You're going to have a packed 12th house. And so that's going to be pretty much, the opposite of the 6th house. I just want you to be aware, though, that this full moon is falling like right at the cusp of the descendant, but in the 6th house. So I don't know if that might manifest as like enemies at work. Like it could be that you have enemies that come up or show up at work, because it's right there between the cusp of the descendant and the 6th house. So be aware of that. This might have to deal with work and health, and also some oppositions that might affect your health, or maybe your partnership, or issues with your partnerships affect your health in some way. Just be aware that it could be a problem. Also, with Uranus transiting Taurus in your 1st house, anything is possible with your persona right now. So be aware of that. Could be an issue for you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave it with that, because I think that's the message I needed to get. I will say this. Neptune is in your 11th house of hopes and dreams and wishes and friends. So it could just be that you're feeling that as well, that a little bit of confusion or a delusion with friendships in general, and especially if it pertains to friendships that you might have at work, because somehow I keep getting a vibe that all of this is work related. Okay, so that full moon in Libra, I wouldn't even be surprised if you got partnerships or romantic dealings at work, and these could all come out, Taurus, on the 19th or 20th. Please be aware of that. Okay. Next, we have Gemini. Gemini. Hello, Gemini. Well, you know what? This is not going to be such a bad full moon for you, Gems. I tell you why. It's because the full moon is happening in the 5th house. I mean, the 5th house is a great house to have it in. And it's, it's Libra. It's basically all of that 5th house. Libra is a good vibe for you, because it's your 5th house of children and happiness and joy and fun and dating and romance and taking chances and buying the lotto and doing things that make you happy and make you smile. And with the full moon there, that's what's going to be highlighted. Now, there are some, things going on in Aries, which is the 11th house of your friends. But overall, with all that emphasis in the full moon in the 5th house, you're one of the people I think is really going to enjoy having this full moon in Libra occurring, because it's in that 5th house. And don't forget, you've got Mars in Gemini right now. And I think that's just, you might just feel like you can express yourself more. You might feel extra creative. I just sense, suddenly, I just get this vibe of creativity. You're just going to be extremely creative. I really believe that. And this is actually doubly so, because I just saw that Neptune is going to be in the 10th house on this day. And so, because it's in Pisces. And so I do see a lot of creativity happening for you, Geminis. Oh, yeah, definitely. Take advantage of all of the ideas and creative ideas that you get in Libra that day. You might come up with some awesome ways of just doing a lot of positive things, especially when it comes to like relationships and romance and stuff like that, or even children or partnerships or anything like that. So I hope you take advantage of that. Okay, Gemini. So next I have Cancer. Cancer. Hello, Cancer. So Cancer, the full moon emphasis is happening in your 4th house. This is just illuminating partnerships in your home and your family life. So you might find that you're dealing with either partnerships in your home. Maybe you've got someone in your home. Yeah. You've got someone in your home, or at least you might find that you do on the 19th. I could see where this could be something that occurs. Neptune is up in the 10th house, and so it does kind of, well, no, Neptune is in the 9th house. That should have been Chiron. Chiron's in the 10th house. There's a little bit of frustration and pain when it comes to your career. I don't know exactly how that's manifesting for your taking shape. What happened to my pen? Gotta find out. Anyway, I could see where that could happen, where you've got a little bit of pain happening in that area, because you not only have Chiron, the wounded healer, sitting up in the 10th house, which that's always an issue. But Jupiter's going retrograde in your 6th house of work. So you might also feel this in your health as well. But I'm thinking work and also your career, you might feel it. Also, the North Node is in Cancer, which is in your 1st house, illuminating, just being more of yourself and taking care of yourself, your physical self. So maybe that might be one of the things, I'm just thinking it has something to do with your partnerships, though, because Saturn and Pluto are going to be retrograding later on in the month in the 7th house, and they've been sitting in your 7th house for a while. But these are all, between today and tomorrow, there's going to be some squares going on from Libra to Capricorn, and I can just see where that could get a little bit ugly. So, good luck with that, Cancer. Don't know about the partnerships in your home, but that, there could be some issues with that because of the North Node square and also the Saturn-Pluto square that's going to be forming. Okay? Just a warning that these are squares, which means there's stress, friction. There could be some tension from partners that are angry with you, come to your home, or maybe you might need to work some things out or mediate that, but just be careful that it could take, of your physical self and of your health as well. Okay, Cancer. Hold on, I'm going to take a sip of tea here. Okay, Leo. Hello, Leo. So this is the full moon reading for you, Leo. And this full moon is falling in your 3rd house of communication. That's where Libra is for you guys. So I can see this is going to be playing out where it's going to be affecting your communication. It could be family, like extended family, like aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, brothers, sisters, that type of thing. But it's partnership. So I can see you maybe doing something where you're partnering with family members, like brothers and sisters or cousins or aunts or uncles or something like that. But it's communication. It's down in the 3rd house of communication. So it could be doing some short distance travel with family members or just some communicating with family members, Leo. But doing things with in partnership with extended family. I can see that happening. There is some emphasis in your 5th house because Jupiter is going retrograde there in Sagittarius. And so there could be some communication with a love partner that day, Leo, and it may or may not go okay. The North Node is in the 12th house, indicating that whatever is going on psychologically and subconsciously, you need to deal with that. And this is also indicated because Neptune is in the 8th house in Pisces at the same time. So that's really telling me it's deep, hidden, secret stuff and most likely psychological things that you need to work out right now, especially with Saturn and Pluto in the 6th house that are going to go retrograde at the end of the month. Take care of your emotional health, your psychological health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, all of that. But this full moon in Libra is just telling you to be cautious of those things. And of course, anything you have partnerships where you're dealing with neighbors or family or anything where it has to do with extended family members. Just be cautious of that around the 19th, 18th, 20th, around there, because that's when the full moon is going to be in that area. Okay. All right. Much love and light to you. Oh, and by the way, Leo, I want you to be cautious about your career right now, because your Uranus is sitting up in the 10th house. And with Saturn and Pluto about to retrograde in the 6th house of work, which is affecting your health, and Jupiter retrograding in the 5th house of taking chances, Uranus in the 10th house is not helping your career one bit. So please be aware of that. Okay. Much love and light to you, Leo. Next, we have Virgo. Virgo. Hello, Virgo. So this full moon emphasis is happening in your 2nd house of money. Wow. I'm just saying wow because I have a daughter who's a Virgo, and she's got so much in the fire. And it's amazing that the emphasis is going to be on partnerships and money. I mean, the full moon always emphasizes partnerships, but since it's falling in the 2nd house, it tells me this is about money and partnerships. And I have a feeling that you Virgos out there could be making a good progress with money and partnerships. I mean, there is also Aries, which is in the 8th house of other people's money. And Chiron is there, but Venus is going to be there, and Mercury is going to be there. So I'm thinking if you have a situation where people might owe you money, especially as it pertains to your business or your career sector, I believe that you'll be able to get that money probably around the 18th, 19th, 20th of the month. Also, don't forget that Mars is in Gemini in your 10th house of career. So your career is on and popping right now. There's a lot of emphasis there. Okay, so just be aware that the emphasis for you in the full moon is the 2nd house of money, what you own, what you possess. You might feel an urge to go out splurging, buying and shopping. Be aware of that, because that, could come back to bite you if you don't have all your money situation worked out. And don't forget, you've got Neptune sitting in the 7th house of Pisces in this year. So partnerships can be a little nebulous and a little confusing, and it can cause issues. So always be on top of your partnerships, especially during this time, I would think. Okay, but I think it's going to be positive for you, especially money-wise, with this full moon in Libra. Okay, good luck to you, Virgo. Next, we have the sign of Libra. Hello, Libra. Well, you're the person that gets all the emphasis this month. I mean, after all, this full moon is happening in Libra, and it's not the first full moon you've experienced. There was that full moon that happened on the 20th of March, which really was a huge full moon. It caused a lot of havoc in a lot of lives of a lot of people, and a lot of changes have occurred between that new moon and the full moon of Aries that was on the 6th, and then from that new moon to now, which is the new full moon. So this is happening in your 1st house. And, Libra deals with partners and partnerships of all kinds. And normally I would think, wow, it would be great if this was happening in your 7th house, but it's happening in the house of you. And it's telling me that it's time for you to take stock of yourself and put yourself first, and think of yourself before you think of others. This time around, when the moon is full in Libra, it's about you thinking about yourself, but I hopefully in a decent way, that you're not sitting on the rights of others. Wow. It's hard for me to say this because I don't like bringing it up, but on the last Libra full moon, I had a cousin who was a Libra who killed his Sagittarius mother on the full moon, or leading up, like the void, of course, leading up to the full moon. I think it was like the 18th or 19th. And so I just want you to be aware that these partnership issues are real. It could have been that there were some past issues with his mother from years gone by. It could have just been greed. But either way, just know that the issues that crop up with the full moon in Libra, excuse me, I'm wheezing. These are very serious issues that are cropping up in Libra. Okay, so please be aware of it. This is the end of a cycle, and it really started back on the 20th. So whatever you've been dealing with over the last month, you may feel the culmination of that now on the 19th and 20th. You may be feeling it as early as now because the full moon is actually occurring at 29 degrees, but it's going to be going through your first house up until it hits 29 degrees. And so you may already, as of today or tomorrow, begin feeling this emphasis that's going to be in your first house. You might feel a little bit more emotional. You might feel like you have more emotional outbursts. So just be aware of this, that if you feel a little frazzled or you feel a little emotional or you feel like you're out of balance, it's because it's the full moon happening in your first house of you. And you really are probably out of balance. And, just sit it through or wait it out until after this full moon is over. And you really may feel this a great deal because the North Node is going to be on your 10th house and Saturn and Pluto are down on your 4th house. So, and Chiron and Mercury, and I believe Venus are on its way to your 7th house. So these are the angles. This is serious. You'll feel this, I'm sure. I would say take this day to take care of yourself, even if it means staying home, pampering yourself, and, do stuff to make you happy that day. Take care of you, nurture you. Okay. That's what I think you should do that day, Libra. Much like to you, Libra. Next, I have Scorpio. Hello, Scorpio. So this full moon Libra thing is happening in your 12th house. And for some people, I would be like, oh, no, it's the 12th house, but you're a Scorpio. You will be able to handle this 12th house with panache, I'm sure. But what I'm thinking is with Uranus in the 7th house, which is, opposing, it's in Taurus, it's opposing Scorpio, and that being the natural house of Libra, that your partner may do something that may trigger you or might come out of the blue and do something untoward that you weren't expecting. Expect the unexpected on, the next couple of days. I would just be aware of that because with Uranus in the 7th house, this is actually being highlighted in a way as well. And with the full moon in Libra in the 12th, I think this is also going to play out with your partnerships. Also, just be aware that Gemini is in Gemini. Mars is in Gemini in the 8th house. And so it could be that you and your partner just have a moment where you're able to get in deep and talk about deep, hidden things that you might not otherwise be able to discuss with each other. But for some reason, over the next few days, you might be able to really have deep, meaningful, private, and even loving or transformational conversations. That's possible for sure. Be aware of that. I mean, because Pluto and Saturn are in the 3rd house, and the North Node is in the 9th house. That's communication. And also Neptune's in the 5th house, and Venus is just trickling over from the 5th into the 6th. I would think that, it's a great time to talk things out with a partner, even though it's in the 12th house. It's those deep psychological hidden things that you might not otherwise be willing to say, but because Mars is in the 8th house and the full moon is in the 12th in Libra, it's urging you to be a little bit more, you know, come out and say things to your partner, or maybe you might find out things about your partner that day that you might not otherwise find out. So be aware of that, especially with Uranus sitting in the 7th house in Taurus. Okay. All right, Scorpio, I hope that this somehow helps you in some way, and that, you know, you do find a way to work out whatever deep psychological hidden things that are going on in the 12th house over the next couple of days. All right. Good luck to you, Scorpio. Next, I have Sagittarius. Hello, Sag. I was singing the Sagittarius song in my last video with Sagittarius, Sagittarius. It goes so perfectly when I sing that. Anyway, Sag, this is all happening up in your 11th house of hopes and dreams and wishes and goals and aspirations and friends. Friends, all your friends. It could have something to do with your friends. It could have something to do with the groups you belong to or the associations you belong to. It could have something to do with like Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or Instagram. It could be that this full moon in Libra is going to make you aware of maybe what you're lacking in these groups and associations, or it could make you aware of what you have with these groups and associations. I mean, after all, Libra, it flows very well with the 11th house, and it flows very well with Sag. I think this full moon in Libra is actually going to be a positive thing for you, Sag. And whatever is going on when it comes to friends and goals and hopes and dreams, with the full moon there, I would say that day, go for it. Why not? I mean, Chiron's going to be down in Aquarius, in Aries, in your 5th house, and so is Mercury. But really, the full moon, that's your emotions. Well, I think if you can show your emotions in a positive way that day and show that to your associates and your friends and the groups and organizations you belong to, I believe that's a good thing, and that it's all good. You know, the funny thing, I just noticed that the North Node is in the 8th, and Saturn and Pluto are in the 2nd. And again, that's what you have and what you have to give. But also the ability, the North Node in Cancer in the 8th house, that's the ability to communicate in a nurturing way through like private communication. And so I'm thinking that you might be able to talk with your friends and your groups and associations that you belong to. I can see hopefully that works out well for you on the 18th and 19th, and probably even to the 20th of the month, because that's when the sun goes into Taurus on the 20th, and it officially goes from your 5th house into your 6th house. And so that's going to put a lot of emphasis on your work and things of that nature. So yeah, good luck with your partnerships, and especially partnerships or partnering with different groups, associations, organizations, things like that you can do, especially on things like Facebook and Twitter and stuff. Good luck with that, Sagittarius. I see that going very, very well for you. Next, we have Capricorn. Capricorn. I love my Capricorn brothers and sisters. So we have a full moon happening in the 11th house. It's the house of career. It's the house of image, the house of status. It's the house that everybody sees. It's where we can't hide. It's going to happen full front and frontal. What is it? Full front and center. Everyone will see it. Whatever ballistic full moon blow up in your face thing this is going to be. Now, I could see, you know, personally how it's going to affect me as a Capricorn, but think about it, Caps. What is it that's happening that could affect you, you know, with your image, your career, your status, the way people see you? what you're putting out, maybe even your partnerships, your current partner, your exes, maybe even, but partnerships. The North Node is in the 7th house in Cancer, and Saturn and Pluto are in the 1st house, and Chiron's in the 4th house. I know it has something to do with the partners. Oh, Lord. So here's the thing. Whatever it is, this full moon in Libra going on in that 10th house. If it has to do with partnerships like at work, now that could be a little bit interesting, but just be aware that it could be more stress. It could be more emotions. It could be more disagreements. It could be more, I would just say, confusion in general, because you guys also have Neptune on the 3rd house, which rules confusing communication. But really, I'm thinking with the full moon and the Taurus really teetering on the other side, I really believe that it's going to affect your career and your image in some way. So be careful of what you say, really. Be careful of what you write. Be careful of what you let out of the closet, your hidden skeletons with Jupiter sitting in your 12th house of hidden secrets. Be careful of what you say about your partner, because, with this full moon in Libra, it's all going to be highlighted and shown to the world. I mean, it's definitely out there. So just be aware that whatever it is that you're saying and doing in regards to partnerships and in regards to your career are all going to be public and very in the face of everyone. And so be aware that could definitely happen to you, Capricorns. I'm wondering how it's going to turn out for you, Capricorns. I can see how that could happen to me. I just wrote an article about Tauruses and anger, and my ex was a Taurus, and it's due to publish like now. And so, I'm not saying he'll see it or care, but the emphasis will be about my partnerships, and it'll be right front and center. And so, think of how it might manifest in your life, Cap. All right. Okay, Cappies. This has been my full moon reading. Just a quick something to get you over the next few days. Okay. And next I have Aquarius. Aquarius. This full moon is occurring in your 9th house. And it's funny. I actually think that's a good place for it to happen for you guys, because it naturally sextiles Sagittarius. So Libra likes being in the 9th house. And I think it's good for you Aquariuses too, because both Libra and Sag are in positive aspect to you. And also Chiron, which is opposing the 9th house, it's also in positive aspect to Aquarius. I mean, I don't see squares so much to Aquarius, and that's what I mean. And so this is not going to be as painful as it could be, if it was actually in Scorpio instead of the last degree of Libra, because it's very close to being in Scorpio in it. So here's the thing. With this emphasis in the 9th house, it's just more like last month, I think, dealing with things like travel and legal things and government things and education and learning and, religion even, and spirituality and philosophy and even in-laws and all of those things that have to do with like spiritual things, even life after death in situations, asking like, why are we here, and things like that. But travel, I see a lot of travel as possibilities for you guys around the 18th, 19th, 20th of the month. Be aware of that, because Chiron and Mercury and soon Venus are going to be in the 3rd house opposing the 9th house. And so short distance travel may not be easy for you. I might even see that. I can even see some people might even have trouble with their cars and stuff like that. So be aware of that day. You know, I can see, especially with the North Node in the 6th house and Saturn and Pluto in the 12th house, that someone gets car trouble or something on that day, and then they can't get to work or they're late to work, and that affects their job performance. And I mean, it just kind of spirals out of like a snowball effect. I can actually see that. So be aware of that. Make sure you have alternative transportation. Make sure you get to work on time. All right, Aquarius. This has been Adrienne Obi of Astrology A Look Inside. This has been your full moon reading just for the next few days. Just wanted to give you a little something. Much love and light to you, Aquarius. I know. And finally, we have Pisces. Pisces. Hey, Pisces. So, the full moon in Libra. The full moon in Libra is happening in your 8th house. And the funny thing about the 8th house is that it's the natural house that rules partners' money. And Libra is the natural sign that rules partners. And it's a full moon, which means there's emphasis there and there's emotion that's going to be there. And so Pisces, I'm thinking this is going to have something to do with your partners and money, or your partner's money, or possibly even receiving money from your partner, or possibly getting word that, you know, there's something that has to do with money that you may or may not be expecting. And money could come in good for you right now with Chiron sitting in your 2nd house of what you have. You may not feel as though you've had a lot of money lately. Mercury is there, and soon Venus will be there, and things will start perking up when it comes to having money. But it's been an area of concern for you for a while. You've got Uranus sitting in the 3rd house and Mars in the 4th house and the North Node in the 5th. But really, all that emphasis is just right there in that 8th house, I think. So what I would suggest, and also be aware, because it's setting up squares to Saturn and Pluto in your 11th house of hopes and dreams and wishes, and also friends and groups and associations. With the full moon in Libra in the 8th house, you might say something or spill the beans or tell a secret or something like that. Be aware of that. Like, you know, be aware of what you're saying, because the 8th house is the house of secrets. And so be cautious of spilling secrets that should not be spilled at this time. Okay. All right. Especially where they pertain to your partner. But I'm thinking if your partner owes you money, you might be able to get money from your partner during this time with the full moon there. So good luck with that, Pisces. Good luck with that. I hope you do get, you know, money in, because I know money has been not as great as it could have been for you. So good luck, Pisces, with that. All right, you guys. Well, this has been Adrienne Obi, Capricorn Tigress of Astrology A Look Inside. I thank you so much for taking time to watch the full moon readings that I did. Just a few blips to the signs to let them know how the full moon might be affecting them in their lives over the next few days. It's been my pleasure doing this. Much love and light to all of you. And if you haven't, please like and share and subscribe our videos. And please like and hit the little bell and, you know, subscribe to our channel so you know when I'm uploading things. And also be sure to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/astrology a look inside. And we also have a group on Facebook, which is facebook.com/groups/astrology a look inside. And of course, you can always find us on our website, which is astrologyalookinside.com. So much love and light to all. Happy Easter to you all. And may be a brighter and better month than the month before. Much love and light to you.